Jacinta, thank you for your time. It is no comfort to you to know that you've talked about this problem for years. Is anything the federal government is now doing likely to adequately address the problem?
Oh, look, they like to think that they're going to adequately address the problem. Announcing $250 million bandaid interim solutions is not the answer to this situation. And basically handballing all that responsibility back over to the Northern Territory government, who have consistently failed, who have consistently chose not to listen to vulnerable community members, Aboriginal organisations calling for the reinstatement of these measures. And pretty much the Chief Minister, up until yesterday, was calling those alcohol restrictions racist, race-based policy that she completely and utterly disagreed with. And now she's had to backflip despite all of that. But you know, Albanese, he's not interested in really solving this issue. You know, here's $250 million. Go do with it what you please, and go and reinstate those restrictions on your own watch. And I'm going to go back to the tennis, basically.
See, I said you're a metaphor of this whole problem because you had violence of the worst possible kind directed at you when you stood for the seat of Lingiari in 2019. No one was concerned then about that violent language. And even after the election of the Albanese government, Penny Wong, who I think's done a very good job as Foreign Minister, said that one of her first acts would be to deliver a First Nations foreign policy. Jacinta, what the hell is that?
Wouldn't we all like to know what First Nations foreign policy actually is? I did question her on it, and she went on about some waffle about, you know, respecting the Uluru Statement from the heart. And I said, oh, come on. You know, I put it back to her. I said, that was 250 elected individuals you're trying to say represented all of Aboriginal Australia. I said to her, do you think that 0.03% of the Asian population, if they were to sign a statement on behalf of all Asian Australians, I could then consult with them in terms of policies that affect your life as an Asian Australian? I don't think she liked that approach so much. I just find it so paternalistic of Penny Wong.
See,
to try to suggest that this
I hope to revisit these things with you, but the public need to have an understanding of what you're talking about. You've said that your standout childhood memories are of loved ones succumbing to grog, the horrific murder of your aunt, the sexual assault, your words, in some way, shape or form, of every woman in your family. Jacinta, who cared then and who cares today?
Oh, you know, everyday Australians cared. That's who cared. Everyday Australians. You know, there were some coalition MPs previously that certainly cared, that wanted to bring about change. I found a lot of my concerns probably fell on deaf ears with our previous Minister for Indigenous Australians, Ken Wyatt. It was frustrating trying to communicate with him. I know this federal Labor government absolutely don't care because they're not actually prepared for the benefit of these kids that are on our streets at night, to work in a bipartisan capacity to deal with these issues, to bring about solutions. I mean, Peter Dutton's called the Prime Minister back in October after I took him around to some of those town camps and spoke to community members and asked him, you know, let's do this together. I'm happy to work in a bipartisan way to try and solve some of these issues. And Peter Dutton went on to call for a Royal Commission into the sexual abuse of Indigenous children. And you know, the Prime Minister didn't listen then. He certainly hasn't listened now, and he's not going to, because he clearly knows what's best. But he will wait until a referendum is called, and should that be successful, he'll wait another few years to establish this voice thing, and that's the voices he will listen to. He won't listen to those democratically elected Aboriginal voices currently sitting in Parliament.
How much is alcohol a factor in all of this?
Look, alcohol is a factor. It's a huge factor, but it's not. It's what exacerbates the underlying issues that we're dealing with here, and we're dealing with. You know, now we're coming into generations of children who have been left in dysfunctional circumstances, where their human rights haven't been upheld, and because of the fact that they're Indigenous, and scary, authorities might be called racist for upholding their human rights because of the stolen generation, and they've been left to languish pretty much, and this is ongoing failure in the name of political correctness.
Yes, that's right.